Miami Hurricane fan, this video is going to be tough to make. I know this video is going to cause a lot of backlash, but I think this is a video that needs to be made. And I'm going to be talking about the truth about Manny Diaz and the Miami Hurricanes football program. Let me start the video off by talking about expectations, right? How good you are at what you do is defined by expectations. You may be good at your job, but if you're not living up to the expectations that that job has for you, then you're considered not good at what you do, right? So, for the Miami Hurricanes football program, over the last couple of years, it seems like the standard that Miami Hurricane fans, myself included, have set the bar at 10 wins, right? 10 wins. If Miami doesn't win 10 wins, doesn't have a 10-win season, the season is considered a failure. And I think at this point, given the state of the Miami Hurricanes football program, that is an unrealistic expectation. Unrealistic. Because Miami has only had one 10-win season in the last 16 years, right? The last time Miami had a 10-win season was in 2017. So how can you set the bar so high for a bar that has only been met or exceeded once in 16 years? You see, the thing about expectations is that expectations have to change. Expectations either go up or expectations either go down. And for the state of the Miami Hurricanes football program, expectations now have to go down. And I know fans are going to disagree with me. They're going to talk about all the glory days and things like that, about all the championships Miami won in the 80s, all the success Miami had in the 90s, the 2000s, and things like that. And that's good. Okay? I wouldn't be mad if you guys disagree with me about that. But Nebraska has a history of winning. Tennessee has a history of winning. Okay? So, I mean, look. At the end of the day, fans, myself included, we got to get out the glory days, okay? This is not 2001. It's not 2002. It's not 2003. It's not the 1980s. It's not the 1990s. This is 2019. What is the realistic expectations for the Miami Hurricanes for 2019 and going forward? Don't give me expectations that you have built on what happened back in the 2000s, in the 90s, and the 80s. Okay, this isn't the 80s, the 90s, or the early 2000s anymore. This is 2019. Expectations have to change. Eventually, 10 wins now for Miami is not a realistic expectation. And I know you guys are upset about that statement, but it's true. How can you set the bar so high for an expectation or goal that has only been met one time in 16 years? Miami Hurricane fans, myself included, were expecting a 10-win season out of a first-year head coach, out of a program that has only had one 10-win season in the last 16 years, because the schedule was mediocre. And when you look at the team talent-wise, this team was probably the second most talented team in the ACC talent-wise. Okay? But although a team may look talented on paper, that's why they play the games. And although a team might be talented, expectations still have to be set realistically. And for Miami to have a 10-win season, for the goal to be 10 wins this year, from the whole entire Miami Hurricane fan base, I think was an unrealistic goal. Despite how easy the schedule may be, Miami has only had one 10-win season in 16 years. The peak that every Miami Hurricane football coach has had, other than Mark Richt, has been 9 wins. Al Golden, 9 wins. Randy Shannon, 9 wins. Every Miami Hurricanes football coach over the last 16 years, peak has been 9 wins. So the expectation should be set at 9 wins. Then Miami hires Mark Richt. Mark Richt comes in 2016, 9-4. He meets the goal of the expectations, given the state of the program, right? 9-4. Then the following season in 2017, Mark Richt exceeds the expectations of 9 wins and wins 10 games. Okay? So just because a mark gets set one time, you don't make that your goal, okay? Now I know a lot of people got to be like, once you reach the peak, the expectations should continue to go up and up, and I would agree with that. But being realistically, Miami has only had one 10-win season in 16 years. So given the overall state, 10 wins at this point seems unrealistic. Every team has its peak. Miami's peak is not 10 wins anymore. They have only had a 10-win season once out of the last 16 years. 10 wins is not realistic anymore. The state of the Miami Hurricanes football program now is between 8 wins and 9 wins. Anything under that, you could consider that a disappointment. A 7-win season, 8-win season isn't really a disappointment, really, because you haven't met the expectation, but you're not far from behind the expectation, right? Now, how does this tie in to Manny Diaz? Manny Diaz made the same error we as fans made. His expectations were too high, and he wasn't realistic with the state of the program, right? Manny Diaz came in the offseason, made all these young mistakes that you see a lot of young head coaches make. They come up with all these guarantees, they come up with all these big bold statements, and then the season comes, and the games come, and the games get played, and the expectations aren't met. Manny Diaz had to look at the state of this program, look at the state of this team, and be realistic. Was the expectations that Manny Diaz put out were just as high as the expectations that the fans had, and weren't really realistic. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, look at the schedule and things like that. Look, Miami has had weak schedules. This isn't the first time Miami had a weak strength of schedule. Miami's strength of schedule score for 2019 was 0.44. In 2011, Miami had the same strength of schedule with 6.67, which was pretty weak, and Miami went 6-6 that year. That was Al Golden's first year. Al Golden's first year, Miami had a weak schedule, and he went 6-6. Manny Diaz had a weak schedule his first year and went 6-6. So the expectations, a big part of those expectations, why these expectations were unrealistic, was because Manny Diaz led us to believe something that wasn't true. Manny Diaz had us believing that this was a better team than what we actually saw on the field. Realistically, the expectation should have been 8 wins. Okay, now obviously Manny Diaz didn't meet those expectations, but realistically, the expectation should have been 8 wins, right? 8 wins should have been the expectations for this season. Although the strength of schedule was easy, 8 wins should have been more realistic. Because you're asking the coach, Manny Diaz, a lot of people say Manny needs to win 10 games or this season will be a disappointment. You're asking a first-year head coach, Manny Diaz has no head coaching experience once forever. You're asking a first-year head coach to have a 10-win season, something that the program has only did one time in 16 years. As a first-year head coach, a guy who has no head coaching experience once forever. You're asking a first-year head coach, in his first year ever being a head coach, to bring a 10-win season to a program that has only had one 10-win season in 16 seasons. That's unrealistic expectations. Manny Diaz had unrealistic expectations for this season, and Miami Hurricane fans had unrealistic expectations for this season, myself included. 10 wins, given the state of the program, a program that hasn't won 10 games in 16 seasons, only one 10-win season in 16 seasons, was unrealistic. So going forward as Miami Hurricane fans always talk about how I always have high expectations for this team and I always get let down. Well, obviously, lower your expectations and you might not get disappointed all the time. 10 wins now is something that every team has their peak. 10 wins is something considered for, at the state of the Miami Hurricanes program now, would be considered lucky to win 10 wins given the state of the program. Because this program has only had one 10-game winning season out of 16 seasons. So you got to look at the overall records of all the head coaches and the overall expectations for this program. The expectations for this Miami Hurricane program now is set at 8 wins. That's a realistic expectation. An unrealistic expectation would be 11-1, 12-0, 10 wins. 10 wins now, given the state of the Miami Hurricanes football program, is unrealistic. Miami's football program now is an 8-win team. Now, Manny Diaz, like every Miami Hurricanes football coach, is going to have a better season. Next year, he's probably going to win 7-8 games, right? Then, the year after, in 2021, Manny Diaz, he's going to reach that peak. He's either going to win 9 games or he's either going to win 10 games. He's going to make an ACC championship game. And then Miami's expectations are either going to stay up or they're most likely going to end up going down. That's the expectation of Miami Hurricanes football program right now. The realistic expectation that Miami Hurricane fans should have now going forward into next season should be 8 wins. Doesn't matter how easy the schedule is, 8 wins should be the realistic expectations for this Miami Hurricanes football program. Because you're asking a coach to make Miami something that it hasn't been in 16 years. A 10-win program. Miami has only had one 10-win season in 16 seasons. Miami's football program is not a 10-win team anymore. It's not a national powerhouse anymore. We have to get out, as Miami Hurricane fans, we need to get out the 80s. We got to get out the 90s. We got to get out the early 2000s because this is 2019. Can't keep setting expectations based on things that happened 2, 3, and 4 decades ago. You got to set the expectations on what has happened now. And the expectations for the Miami Hurricanes football program, the realistic expectations now are 8 wins. And that's it for this video. Let me know how you guys feel about it down in the comment section down below. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more college football videos, and thanks for watching.